Governess of Ravensmere. The snow lay heavy on the lawns of Holloway Court, muffling every sound, as if the world itself wished to hide from sorrow. Within its echoing halls, young Lady Isabella Greystone stood in her morning gown, the black silk too heavy for her slender frame. She was only 16, newly orphaned, her parents claimed by a sudden carriage accident on the icy road. She looked to her uncle, Lord Farnham, for comfort, but found none. His gaze was cool, his lips drawn thin. "She brings no fortune," he told the assembled family. "We cannot take her in." "Let her make her own way," her aunt added. "We are not running a charity." "She has nothing to offer." The words cut more sharply than the winter wind. With no champion to defend her, Isabella was cast out. She took nothing but a small case of belongings and her mother's pearl rosary, engraved with the Greystone crest. She swore never to speak her true name again. To the world, she became Miss Belle Ashton, a governess seeking employment wherever she might find it. It was at Ravensmere House, the seat of Sir Charles Hargrave and his proud wife Lydia, that Isabella found a position. But there was no kindness there. The Hargrave children were spoiled and unruly. Lady Hargrave mocked Isabella for her modest dress, and the servants whispered cruelly behind her back. Sir Charles's attentions were darker still. Lingering glances, compliments that skirted impropriety, an air of ownership in his manner that made her stomach tighten with unease. Yet she bore it all with quiet dignity. One evening, while tidying in the library, she discovered a drawer left carelessly unlocked. Within were dusty ledgers and tied letters. By candlelight, she read, her eyes widening as words leapt from the page. "Debts concerning Greystone, arrangement with Lord Farnham." The blood drained from her cheeks. Could it be that her ruin had been deliberate? It was not long after that she met the man who would change her life. One crisp autumn afternoon, while leading the children through the forest, one of them slipped into a stream, shrieking with terror. Isabella's cry for help was answered by the pounding of hooves. A tall horseman dismounted with practised ease, lifting the boy to safety. When Isabella looked up, she met eyes of piercing blue, kind yet commanding. The stranger removed his hat with a bow. "I am Lord Nathaniel Harrow, Marquis of Blackthorn, and you, madam, have the patience of an angel." From that day their paths crossed often. In the village lanes, on forest walks, sometimes at Ravensmere's borders when he called. Their conversations, at first courteous, grew warm, then intimate, and Isabella discovered a rare thing, a man who listened, who admired not only her face but her thoughts, her wit, her courage. Beneath the golden arches of the woods, he at last confessed what her heart had secretly longed for. "Miss Ashton," he said, his voice steady, "I have known women of beauty, but never one whose spirit moved me as yours does. Permit me to court you." Breath caught. "My lord, I am but a governess." "Society would scorn you," but he only smiled. "Then let society scorn me. I will not give you up." It was not long before Lady Hargrave noticed. Jealous and scheming, she began whispering into eager ears. London soon buzzed with scandal. The Marquis of Blackthorn in love with a governess. Invitations to his house were quietly withdrawn. His formidable mother, the Dowager Marchioness, summoned him. "You disgrace our name," she declared coldly. "Break this off or forfeit Blackthorn." Nathaniel met her gaze without flinching. "Then I shall be disinherited. I would rather live with her in a cottage than rule a kingdom without her." The Dowager was aghast and the scandal deepened. Lady Hargrave fanned the flames further, claiming Isabella was no governess at all. but a woman of ruined virtue hiding a shameful past. One stormy night, Lady Hargrave stormed into Isabella's chamber uninvited. She seized the pearl rosary from Isabella's hands. Lightning flashed as she held it aloft. "This crest, the mark of Greystone." "Who are you truly? Tell me, or I shall expose you." Isabella pleaded for its return, but Lady Hargrave only smiled coldly and slipped it into her pocket. A few days later, Sir Charles cornered Isabella in a corridor. His tone was silken, his meaning foul. "My wife is failing. Marry me, and you will rise higher than any governess ever dreamed. Refuse, and I will ensure your secret destroys you." Isabella recoiled, clutching her shawl. "I would rather beg in the streets than bind myself to a villain." She fled, heart pounding, but she knew the danger had grown dire. The season's great winter ball brought everything to its climax. Nathaniel, defying convention, escorted Isabella proudly at his side. The chandeliers blazed, the gowns glittered, and the whispers cut like knives. Fans fluttered, eyes darted. The governess! The scandal! Lady Hargrave stepped forward, triumphant. She held the rosary high. "See this! She claims to be a governess, yet carries the crest of Greystone. She is a liar, a fraud." The crowd gasped, eyes turning in condemnation. Isabella swayed, pale as death. But just as the shame threatened to engulf her, a voice rang out. An elderly solicitor pushed through the crowd, papers in hand. "On the contrary," cried Mr. Alford, once loyal to her father, "this young woman is no fraud. She is Lady Isabella Greystone, rightful heiress of Holloway Court. And I will add this. Sir Charles Hargrave and Lord Farnham conspired to strip her inheritance. Their treachery is the reason she was cast adrift." The ballroom erupted in outrage. Lady Hargrave fainted dead away. Sir Charles turned ashen and fled. Where moments before there had been scorn, now there was awe. Men bowed, women curtsied. Nathaniel drew Isabella close, his voice carrying above the din. "She was always a lady to me. Now the world must see her as I do." Justice followed swiftly. Sir Charles was stripped of his offices and fled abroad, his reputation ruined. Lady Hargrave withdrew from society, a laughingstock. Lord Farnham was disgraced, forced to repay what he had stolen. The Dowager Marchioness, once so unyielding, came to Isabella in private, her proud face softened with tears. "Child, forgive my blindness. You are not only worthy of my son, you are the making of him." Spring returned at last to Holloway Court, and with it, joy. The chapel bells rang as Isabella walked slowly down the aisle in satin and lace, the sunlight streaming through stained-glass windows. Nathaniel waited, his eyes fixed on hers, love and devotion clear in every line of his face. Their vows were spoken with trembling voices, steady with faith. And as the bells pealed across the countryside, Isabella thought of the girl who had once been cast out, scorned and forgotten. No longer an orphan, nor a governess, nor a servant to the cruel whims of others. She was Lady Isabella Harrow, Marchioness of Blackthorn. Her inheritance restored, her honour vindicated, her love eternal. The Governess of Ravensmere had become mistress of her own destiny. Pray accept my gratitude, dear viewer, for accompanying us through this tale. I trust it has brought you some measure of delight. If the story has pleased you, kindly grace us with your thoughts and do subscribe to this channel that you may be promptly notified when further romances and adventures are unveiled. Until our next meeting, I remain most obliged to you.